Tonight, Pierre Poilievre visits Saskatchewan to talk canola and EV tariffs. Details remain limited on the resignation of a Sask marshal officer. And recent rain has helped crews get control of some of the wildfires.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre made a stop in Saskatchewan ahead of his by-election in Alberta next week. His message? Support for canola farmers, demanding the federal government do something amidst damaging Chinese tariffs. Keenan Sorkon has more.
China's new tariff on canola seed is here, and Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says it's time for the Prime Minister to speak up.
Mark Carney has said nothing about the canola producers, like he doesn't care about Western Canadian producers.
The nearly 76% tariff announced on Tuesday has already caused prices of the crop to fall, wiping out hundreds of millions of dollars in value overnight. The tariff is in response to Canada's 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles, in addition to other levies in recent months. Poilievre wouldn't directly answer if Ottawa should repeal the EV tariff, but says its revenue is creating a fund that should be helping Western canola farmers.
The money raised by the Canadian government in that dispute should go back to the people who are paying the bills.
The president of the Agriculture Producers Association of Saskatchewan says the Prime Minister should be on the next plane to China before the damage gets any worse.
He's got to do something because right now it looks like we're being sacrificed.
Later Thursday afternoon, the Prime Minister did speak up, posting a message on X saying he spoke with Premier Scott Moe and both men are focused on a series of measures to support hardworking farmers. Carney says Canada does not dump canola, which was a motivation for China imposing the tariff, and says we will advance a constructive dialogue with the Chinese officials to address our respective trade concerns while diversifying our trade abroad and supporting our canola producers at home. Provincial says getting to this point is disappointing. He feels farmers across the prairies are caught in the middle of a trade war Canada started.
We're basically helpless here, other than we can advocate for changes and hope that our voices are being heard.
Until then, farmers continue to adjust to this new layer of uncertainty for Saskatchewan's most lucrative crop. Keenan Sorkon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The latest weekly provincial crop report released today, and the word of the day was rain. According to that report, widespread precipitation in Saskatchewan last week had various impacts on crops. For those later seeded crops like canola, the rain was a welcome sight. But for some earlier seeded crops, the rain could have a negative impact. Some producers saw damage to their crops due to excess moisture, and hard rainfall mixed with strong winds caused some crop lodging in parts of the province.
Especially in the southwest, they've been hammered with rain the last 3 to 4 weeks, and they would just like some dry conditions to, again, get crops maturing, I guess. In the northwest, it has been quite a bit drier up there relative to the rest of the province. So if there's anywhere in the province that definitely wants to see more rainfall, it's producers in the northwest.
When it comes to canola crops, Matches says that while more rainfall could be of some help, most farmers are hoping for warm and dry conditions in the coming weeks. The NDP's search for information about alleged misconduct by a Saskatchewan marshal has come up blank after the request for documents came back with heavy redactions. As Wayne Mantiga tells us, an investigation earlier this year led to the officer's resignation.
I don't even know if this is...
The NDP asked for information about complaints against the Marshal Service. It received a file as thick as a catalog, with the contents redacted.
Instead of releasing any information, the government completely redacted 290 pages of emails and documents. That's this, 290.
The inquiry was sparked by an allegation of misconduct made earlier this year against a provincial marshal. The NDP believe the incident took place in Saskatoon.
You know, people in Saskatchewan talk. I have heard a lot of rumors about what this individual did. I don't know whether or not what I've heard is true, but if what I've heard is true, it's not appropriate for me to say what that person did in front of a camera.
The investigation was concluded without the findings released to the public.
I'm here today calling on the Minister for Justice, Policing, Corrections and Public Safety, Tim McLeod, and Legislative Secretary Michael Uyghur, who will address media in Prince Albert later today, to be transparent with the people of Saskatchewan and release the documents. This pattern of secrecy and lack of transparency is deeply troubling.
The government offered this response.
The Public Complaint Commission doesn't normally release that information. They do their internal investigation and then report back to the agency responsible, and they would have reported back to the head of the Saskatchewan Marshals, which is Chief Marshal Rob Cameron.
The NDP Freedom of Information request was about incidents over the years involving the Marshal Service. Given the large volume of blank pages received, the opposition is questioning whether it's dealing with one incident or many. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Saskatchewan RCMP have updated the list of wanted offenders with active warrants. 4 offenders on the list were arrested in the last month, and though a review, 5 were added to the list at the beginning of August. RCMP hope releasing the images will encourage tips and information from the public to support investigations and lead to the arrest of the individuals. While Saskatchewan's Serious Incident Response Team is investigating an officer-involved shooting near Deschambault Lake at around 8:40 a.m. last Friday. RCMP encountered a group of individuals in a wooded area near the village of Deschambault Lake when responding to the sound of a gunshot. Officers issued orders to an adult male of the group to place him under arrest, but another member of the group, a 19-year-old, raised and pointed his firearm at officers who fired multiple rounds, hitting the 19-year-old in the chest. The 19-year-old died of his injuries at the scene of the incidents, and the other 2 were taken into custody. 1 firearm and 2 replica firearms were recovered. CERT says a final report will be issued within 90 days of the completed investigation. Well, a family in Yorkton has turned a targeted hateful attack against them into a colorful, powerful message for the LGBTQ2S+ community. Regina has the details.
A Yorkton family started the week with a shocking discovery.
So my son Ben discovered this first thing in the morning. He leaves for work at 6 a.m. and so he took a picture and sent it to me, and that's what I woke up to.
Overnight, homophobic slurs were spray painted on their garage door and house front.
I don't think we were super upset at the time, but my daughter was. Especially the words that they used were so ugly.
After giving it some thought, the family decided not to remove the hateful words, instead transforming what intended to hurt and harm into something beautiful and positive.
We are proud of who we are. We're proud of ourselves as a family, and we're proud of the 2S LGBTQ+ people in our family and in our community and our friends. And the person that did this is the person that should feel ashamed and small and ugly, not us.
The mayor of Yorkton says hate has no place here.
Any vandalism is wrong and is a crime, but when you tie in that type of hate with the vandalism, it's completely unacceptable and really is disappointing from my place as mayor, and I think for most of the residents of our community, if not all the residents of our community, it's a very disappointing thing to see happen.
Neighbors, friends, colleagues, and schoolmates are showing a tremendous amount of support for the family, proving that after every storm comes a rainbow.
Yeah, it was just a lot of people came to me, like more than I expected, and to be as upset as they were, it made me feel like a part of a community actually that actually cared about me and understood me. So that was actually really nice.
The family says the incident has been reported to the RCMP. Regina, CTV News, Yorkton.
We're getting a snapshot of the results of investigations from policing teams in the province's 3 largest cities for the first half of this year. A report on specialized policing teams says trafficking units and crime reduction teams seized a total of 73 firearms, more than 14 kilograms of cocaine, and over 2.7 kilograms of methamphetamine from Prince Albert, Saskatoon, and Regina. Officers charged 91 people with a total from January to June of this year. Meanwhile, municipal Saskatchewan trafficking response teams opened 62 human human trafficking files and launched 59 human trafficking interventions. Crime reduction teams focus on street gangs and public offenders, while trafficking response teams target illegal weapons, drugs, and human trafficking cases. Well, recent rain has brought some relief to wildfire crews in northern Saskatchewan. As Stacey Hine tells us, some of this season's most prominent wildfires are now under control.
Recent rainfall has helped crews gain control over some of Saskatchewan's largest wildfires.
Over the last 3 to 4 days, all areas of the northern forest have received between 5 and 20 millimeters of rain. That has increased our ability to contain these fires and accomplish more.
The Saskatchewan Public Safety Agency says the Shoe Fire, which tore through Narrow Hills Provincial Park, the Wolf Fire, which devastated Denair Beach, and the Ditch Fire near Wayakowin are all now contained. The SPSA says improved conditions mean 2 air tankers from Quebec have been sent back. It has also released 3 military helicopters, and Australian firefighters are heading home. But about 300 military firefighters remain on the ground alongside crews from Quebec, Ontario, the U.S., and Mexico.
The change in fire behavior is welcomed by the crews because they can be more productive. It's not as high risk. It's not as problematic for them.
Meanwhile, the SPSA says recovery efforts are underway in Denair Beach, with about 500 people visiting the Resiliency Centre.
We have a number of organizations that are at that one-stop shop, and they include SGI, PDAP, the Saskatchewan Health Authority, Social Services, Red Cross, and Samaritan's Purse, all there to help answer questions and give guidance.
But despite the progress, 4 communities remain under full evacuation orders. As of Thursday afternoon, there are 79 active wildfires in the province. 11 are not contained. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
The provincial fire ban has been lifted now in parts of northern Saskatchewan as of last night. It's now okay to have fires on Crown land north of the forest boundary all the way up to the Churchill River, including the Northern Administration District. Now, this map shows where the ban is still in place. The government warns that some towns and rural municipalities might still have their own local fire rules, as well as provincial parks and recreation sites. Sabine joins us for our first look at the weather, and we were having issues yesterday with watches. How are things shaping up in the province tonight?
The only warnings we have in the province right now are far northeast, Lee, and it's the rainfall warnings. Now we saw them in the northwest yesterday. Now it's around the south end and Wollaston Lake area where they could expect to see up to about 50 millimeters of rain tonight, and then that system will clear out heading into Manitoba. So they are currently under warning, but as you can see behind me on the radar satellite, it's been a mostly clear, uneventful day in Saskatchewan. We saw a little bit of that cloud cover rolling through. We will see some precipitation coming through over the next couple of days, but not big systems that are going to be leaving behind large rainfall totals. Temperatures, though, will start to cool down. Currently, we're already seeing those temperatures in many areas in the mid to high teens. We didn't really quite get up to that average temperature, which is about 26 degrees. We reached 22 late this afternoon, and it's actually going to be cooler as we head into tomorrow, but I'll have those details in your forecast. Lee?
All right, thank you, Sabine. Despite finishing the regular season just 2 games above 500, the Regina Red Sox find themselves in a WCBL final, defeating the Medicine Hat Mavericks and Saskatoon Berries in the playoffs, and the Berries, a team that broke the league record for most wins in the regular season. With more on tonight's game, we'll go down to Curry Field, where Donovan Mace is there for Game 1 of the WCBL final. Donovan.
Yeah, Lee, shaping up to be an amazing night of baseball. The gates opened about 40 minutes ago. I'm down the right field line, a very popular spot to sit here. It is already starting to fill up, and the park has been open for about 40 minutes, and first pitch not for another 50 minutes. So fans here looking to see something their team hasn't done since 2019, which is play in the WCBL finals, and even further than that, they haven't won this league since back in 2012, when they went back-to-back in 2011 and in 2012. But this team not expected to be in this situation. As you mentioned, just 2 games above 500 on the year, going through a very tough East Division. And now have an even tougher test against the Sylvan Lake Gulls, who have not lost a game yet this postseason, sweeping the Lethbridge Bulls and then the defending champion Okotoks Dogs. But these Red Sox feel their experience, their lineup, their pitching is all that it will take to beat them.
We got some timely hitting. Just starting to find some green. We're hitting the ball pretty hard all year. Just, that's the game of baseball. But now we're starting to find some green, so it's a lot of fun to watch the guys run around the bases. We just have to maintain the energy, play some good, clean baseball. And the pitching is always big in the playoffs. So we got guys that are going to keep us in the game and they give us an opportunity to score some runs. So I'm very confident in what we got here moving forward.
So in 2019, the Sylvan Lake Gulls weren't even a team in this league, and now they're making their first finals appearance against the Regina Red Sox. Game 1 is tonight, first pitch in about 50 minutes, and then games 2 and 3, regardless of what happens, will both be in Sylvan Lake, shaping up to be a heck of a series there, Lee.
Thank you very much, Donovan. Donovan Makes reporting live from Curry Field. Canadian Taxpayers Federation is calling on the provincial government to lower taxes at the pumps. The CTF says drivers are taxed about 31 cents per liter, 16 cents in federal taxes, 15 cents in provincial taxes. The STS says filling up a minivan costs a Saskatchewan driver about $23 in taxes alone. It's asking the province to reduce the tax to 11.5 cents per liter, which it says would make gas cheaper than in Manitoba and give Saskatchewan drivers a break.
It would save taxpayers about $120 million a year, and that's only about 0.5% of total government revenue. So something the government can afford to do to give Saskatchewanians just that little bit extra break at the pump.
The province says the reduction in revenue from the tax would impact the province's ability to maintain and improve roadways. The third annual Friend-Raiser event took place at the Connexus Arts Centre, a charity expo of sorts. The gala style features more than 100 charities looking for benefactors as well as philanthropists looking for a cause to support. That support is often financial but could also include one's time or talents. The event, hosted by the South Saskatchewan Community Foundation, is also an educational experience for those looking for a worthy cause to support.
What are the needs in the community? Just visiting, learning from them. They can share where the resources go, what the needs are, build relationships, because this is truly about building those trusting relationships with organizations that you care about.
Cheers. All the groups at the Friend-Raiser events were registered charities with causes from health, care, to the arts.
Still ahead, Air Canada details a shutdown of flights ahead of a possible lockout or strike. And Alaska prepares to host an important summit between Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin.
Well, start looking for options if you have plans to fly Air Canada over the next few days. Now that talks are at an impasse and flight attendants have voted to strike, the national airline has gradually suspended flights, a dozen by tonight, 500 by tomorrow. CTV's Sean Leithong has the latest.
Storming in on their employer, about 24 Air Canada flight attendants picket inside a news conference that was organized by the airline.
We want to be seen, we want to be heard, we want to be valued for the work that we do.
Members stand holding signs accusing Air Canada of forcing unpaid work. This as the airline begins canceling flights, winding down operations towards a total shutdown.
It's simply not the kind of system that we can start or stop at the push of a button.
At the start of the day, Air Canada leadership outlined what the shutdown would look like. It includes several dozen cancellations Thursday, around 500 cancellations on Friday, with all flights grounded by Saturday if a deal is not reached in time. The first cancellations to be mostly international long-haul flights set to take off Thursday night. At Pearson Airport in Toronto, an information desk has been set up to help travelers who are concerned.
I'm concerned about getting back from my destination. That's about it.
I'm hoping it'll be very short-lived and resolved really quickly. If not, I guess we're finding another ride home.
The airline saying all canceled flights will be offered a refund as they try to rebook for those who are stranded, but seats are limited.
And it looks like we're going to have to pay out of pocket probably about $900 for a new flight.
We are extremely disappointed by CUPE's decision
which threatens to disrupt the travel plans of more than 130,000 customers a day.
The airline's saying their latest offer, a 38% raise, including benefits, that would make Air Canada the best compensated flight attendants in the country.
One of the lowest rates.
Bargaining team member Natasha Steya says the airline isn't being truthful.
We are not the highest paid, and with the increase that they're proposing, we still would not be the highest paid.
As both sides argue over compensation and what the union is calling unpaid work, at this point, there's little either side can agree on.
We have been at the table, sitting and waiting. We've been talking with the conciliators. We've been there. But the employer, they left.
We never left the table. We are engaged throughout the entire process.
Air Canada has asked the federal government to step in and force mediation, with Federal Labour Minister Patty Hajdu saying the government is available, but I urge both parties to put their differences aside, come back to the bargaining table, and get this done now for the many travelers who are counting on you. Labour Minister Patty Hajdu saying that the union requested until 12 p.m. on Friday to decide whether they want to enter binding arbitration. She has granted that request. Sean Leathong, CTV News.
Canada Post and its workers' union will begin 2 days of talks tomorrow. The union, which represents about 55,000 postal workers, says both sides met with federal mediators on Tuesday and will meet with Canada Post tomorrow and Monday. The talks come after workers rejected Canada Post's latest proposal, which would have seen wages hikes of about 13% over 4 years, as well as restructuring to add part-time workers. Negotiations for a new agreement have been ongoing for more than a year and a half. Well, the number of wildfires is slowly coming down here in Saskatchewan and Atlantic Canada. The situation getting worse. About 100 homes and structures have been damaged in a fire raging on the north shore of Newfoundland's Conceptions Bay. But the province's premier says it's still far too dangerous to send crews underneath the smoke for a better count. That means many of the 3,000 evacuees are still wondering if their homes have been lost. Garrett Berry has the details.
The wait for answers has been excruciating, especially considering just how long some of these evacuees have been out of their homes.
When I start to do an inventory, I kind of shut down. Like everything precious, every single item precious to me in my life is in Western Bay.
Tanya Kearley-Russell fled her place in Western Bay 10 days ago with whatever she and her husband could fit inside these two vehicles. Now she's in St. John's, but everything else is back at that property, underneath the smoke and the flame from the Kingston wildfire.
Everything that we want important to us in our lives is under that roof.
One area town council did report a preliminary count today of what dwellings have been lost. It includes a heritage schoolhouse. But officials say it's too dangerous to ask anyone to go inside the smoke for a fuller count.
Once these fires are out, and they will be out, and we get into the communities to see what's left and what's gone, we'll work with every individual, every family, every business, every mayor to see how we can rebuild the communities.
There was some good news today. These clouds above us bringing more humidity, even some rain over parts of the province. Both much needed help for firefighters. Garrett Berry, CTV News, St. John's.
Compensation payments have begun for some claimants in a $23 billion child welfare case involving First Nations children and their families. The Assembly of First Nations calls it an important milestone. The settlement with the federal government affects more than 300,000 people. It's intended to provide compensation for Canada's chronic underfunding of on-reserve child welfare services. More than 40,000 claims have been received, with many more eligible claimants who haven't yet submitted applications. 50 years after it closed, the Government of Canada and Long Plain First Nation in Manitoba are honoring the historic significance of the former Portage La Prairie Indian Residential School. Today, MP Jeanette Levac and Long Plain First Nation leaders held a special ceremony to unveil 3 plaques recognizing the historical significance of the former residential school. Opened back in 1915, the building is a rare surviving example of residential schools that were established across Canada. The residential school system removed Indigenous children from their families and communities, denying them their traditions, language, and culture. Many children were harmed and some even died at the school.
It serves as a powerful, immersive
memorial that honors those who endured the residential school system, safeguarding their stories, supporting survivors and their communities, educating visitors on the impacts of the residential schools.
School closed in 1975. Today, it's home of the National Indigenous Residential School Museum of Canada. An Alberta judge ruled today the language in the question that will ask Albertans if they want to separate from Canada will face a full hearing. The proposed question asks, do you agree that the province of Alberta shall become a sovereign country and cease to be a province in Canada? The judge says it will benefit democracy for the question to be scrutinized. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith did not want the question to go to a hearing, instead saying it should only be reviewed if it wins a majority vote in a referendum. Well, one day to go until the eagerly anticipated Alaska summit, where the U.S. president will sit down with Vladimir Putin to try and broker a deal to bring an end to the war in Ukraine. Donald Trump claims Russia's leader wants to get it done. CTV's Rachel Aiello on what's at stake, the expectations, and the end goal.
Final preparations are underway in Alaska at the U.S. military base where the high-stakes summit is taking place.
I want to see if I can stop the killing.
Tomorrow, U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin will sit down face-to-face. Today, Putin called Trump's efforts to stop hostilities energetic and sincere, though Trump tempered expectations about this meeting ending with a truce.
The more important meeting will be the second meeting that we're having. We're going to see what happens. And I think President Putin will make peace. I think President Zelensky will make peace. We'll see if they can get along. And if they can, it'll be great.
Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky won't be in Anchorage, but Trump said a second summit between the three world leaders could come soon after. Today, Zelensky met with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and the pair emerged optimistic about the chance for peace, so long as Putin agrees to a ceasefire deal that protects Ukraine's territorial integrity.
If President Trump somehow manages to cajole that out of them, that will be the best possible outcome.
Today, Kremlin and White House officials confirmed that Trump and Putin plan to hold a joint press conference once their talks conclude. But Trump later said he could still decide to go solo if the meeting doesn't go well. Rachel Aiello, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up, a look at the Monarch butterfly before they head south for warmer weather.
Regina Thunder set to roll into Alberta in the morning. We're sitting down with the 1-0 Thunder to find out what they have in store for us this season.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
Let's take a look at your forecast heading into tonight. Looks beautiful out there. A beautiful shot of Wascana Lake. Temperatures didn't quite warm up to our what is average, about 25, 26 degrees. We did warm up to 22 late this afternoon. Currently sitting at 21. Winds still gusting up to about 40 kilometers an hour, but we will start to see those slightly calm, at least for tomorrow, before they pick right back up on Saturday, excuse me. So this is what we have been dealing with over the last few hours on our radar satellite. Not a whole lot to worry about in central southern Saskatchewan. We still have some of that rain in northern Saskatchewan and the rainfall warnings in the northeast, where they are expecting or could expect to see up to about 50 millimeters of rain as this rain system passes through the area. But heading into tonight and really for most of tomorrow into Saturday, it's going to be a little bit of a mix of sun and cloud, and then these little pockets of precipitation we can expect to come through the area. Most of that rain still sticking to central northern Saskatchewan. We won't really see much rainfall in southern Saskatchewan, but we will see these little pockets of rain, and then down around the Assiniboia area, expecting some chance of some storm activity going through, but they're not systems that are going to be lingering around for long. By Saturday morning, we could see a little bit of precipitation come through, especially in the Regina area, just by Saturday morning, and then as we prepare for football in the afternoon, it does look like it will be a mostly clear time during the game, and then we could expect to see some rain returning later in the evening with that cloud cover rolling through. even a possibility of some storm activity overnight Saturday night into Sunday morning. And then we're going to be left with another day of mix of sun and cloud. Rainfall totals not looking too bad. It looks largely some trace amounts. It's Moose Jaw that could see with some storm activity coming through the heavier rainfall Saturday night into Sunday. But other than that, it's trace amounts for many areas of the province. The highest numbers apart from Moose Jaw is up in Larange, around close to 10 millimeters of rain. Temperatures, though, like I said, cooler tonight. Wow, much cooler in Lloydminster tonight at 4 degrees. 14 tomorrow is the expected daytime high, and a little bit of rain there. But that's basically what we're going to be seeing for much of the province. Mid to high teens as daytime highs, except when we get in the southwest, where we'll still see warmer temperatures and cloudier conditions continuing. Same story for the southeast, into the low 20s, clear tonight, and then for Regina, clear tonight, 8 degrees tomorrow, warming up to 19 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. Winds much calmer, anywhere between 5 to 15 kilometers an hour, but again, that will change as we take a look at what's to come for Saturday. Saturday, a lot of sunshine expected. 25 is the expected daytime high, but winds are expected to be gusting up to about 50 kilometers an hour. So something to keep in mind there. And again, we may see a little bit of a cool down Saturday morning and then Saturday night with a little bit of that rain coming through the area. Sunday, 28 degrees, a mix of sun and cloud, and then the rain does return. Monday, we could expect to see some scattered showers throughout the day, expecting a daytime high of 25 degrees. And then Tuesday, the sun returns at least for a day, but so do the very warm temperatures. Tuesday, 30 degrees, nothing but sunshine. And then we're back to some storm activity on Wednesdays. The risk of thunderstorm in the late afternoon, 28 degrees still expected as a daytime high. And then by Thursday, we're back into that seasonal range, 26 degrees and mainly sunny conditions. So it is looking like a mixed bag when it comes to conditions, but the temperatures are back into seasonal, if not warmer than seasonal, as we head into next week. It's just tomorrow that's looking a little cooler.
And a couple days next week of some slight rain.
That's right.
Remy's got some soccer camps.
Oh no.
Well,
we also know between now and then it could change.
Yes. Just wait a minute for Saskatchewan weather. Thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Well, you may have seen some monarch butterflies fluttering around your backyard this summer. The endangered species is gearing up for its migration to Mexico later this month. Well, the population has seen a bit of a decline over the last few decades. There are ways to keep the species afloat. Alexandra Hullock has more.
Whether you're 8, 9, or 89, the magic of monarch butterflies can be captivating.
I think it's a really cool animal, or insect, I should say.
It's amazing what they do. You don't know what they're going to do.
The orange and black-winged creatures are gearing up for their annual migration to Mexico. But for now, they're spending time at a Stratford park.
The butterflies that you see throughout the summer are here to basically enjoy their summer vacation. The monarchs we're seeing now, the eggs that are being laid now, are what we call the super generation. They're going to be slightly bigger.
Barb Hacking has been raising monarchs for over 40 years. She says she does it to educate others about the endangered species and its dwindling population.
2 years ago, the population in Mexico was down again. And this year they're saying, oh, it's doubled. But they have to realize it's doubled from not very many to begin with.
Experts say monarchs thrive in areas full of milkweed, and the best way to keep the population going is by planting milkweed in your own garden. But a new research study from the University of Guelph suggests there are other steps that can be taken on a global level.
That includes a collaborative multi-million-dollar approach between Canada, the United States, and Mexico.
The conservation of this species is really a shared effort between the three countries because monarchs move between these three countries over the annual cycle.
The study suggests investing $150 million over 5 years, with majority going toward replenishing milkweed habitats in the U.S. Midwest.
And then in the fifth year, you would actually allocate funds both in southern Ontario and the prairie provinces of Canada, as well as in Mexico, where the butterflies overwinter.
With the hopes that millions of milkweed plants will bring millions more monarch butterflies.
If you plant for them, they will come.
Alexandra Hullock, CTV News, Stratford.
Anymore. I'm going to leave them.
Still ahead, riders hold their final full practice before Saturday's showdown with Hamilton.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
Riders had their final full practice before weekend game versus the Hamilton Tiger Cats. No real changes when it comes to injury. Sean Bain Jr. is out once again. Just no room for him in the receiving corps because of the ratio. Now, despite being 7-1, the Riders feel they have yet to put together a perfect game this season, hoping to keep a win streak going after that bye week.
We haven't finished the game. We haven't started fast and finished fast. We want to put a whole game together to where, all the pieces come together from everyone, from all the receivers to the running game.
The Montreal game was pretty close to perfect. The game through the air has been stellar thanks to Trevor Harris, yet Saskatchewan still looking for more balance. The Riders do rank 3rd in the league when it comes to rushing, but over the past 4 games, it has declined to less than 73 yards on the ground.
Each week kind of poses different game plans, you know what I mean? So, sometimes even offensively, special teams, defensively, sometimes it might call for, rushing 5, 6, 7 guys, and sometimes it might call for rushing 3 guys if that's the game plan to win the game. So, but, offensively, yeah, of course, we always want to be able to establish the run.
The University of Regina will have a new look for their U Sports teams this upcoming season. These are the new logos for the U of R Cougars and Rams. The university says the new modern look is a bit of a refresh for its varsity sports and brings the Cougars and Rams branding more in sync with each other. There you go. Well, at the Canada Summer Games in St. John, Saskatchewan currently has 2 medals, last time I checked anyway. Bronze for Regina's Bear Robertson in canoe kayak, while in the pool, Regina's Leo Zhang won gold in the paramen's backstroke.
Post-race, it was amazing. I didn't know from what I saw on the board. It was, I knew it had to be close, and I just didn't know how close. And me and all the team, we were just waiting. We were waiting. And then when it came out, it felt great. I don't think I'll ever forget that moment.
Yeah, don't think he will forget it. That's a moment for sure. Men's baseball team, they are in the semifinals. That's set for Friday. They'll play Quebec, a team they've beaten twice already. Women's basketball team lost a heartbreaker to quarterfinals to BC, while the men, they lost to Quebec in the quarterfinals. The games continue into the end of next week.
Still ahead, the final 2 pedestals are placed in Victoria Park.
Let's get into your rural forecast for tomorrow, and it's the same story as what we are looking at many parts of Saskatchewan tomorrow. Much cooler as the cold front's coming through. We'll have a little bit cooler of a breeze come through. Those temperatures then dropping much cooler than what our average is sitting at. So we'll be seeing those daytime highs in the mid to high teens and more cloud cover rolling through, even a chance of some precipitation. Lloydminster, Spiritwood expecting some showers tomorrow. 14 for Lloydminster, 15 for Spiritwood and for Melfort, 16 degrees for Wynyard, Hudson Bay and Meadow Lake, and 17 for Watrous, Outlook and Kindersley. And you can see again a lot more of that cloud cover rolling through, but as we get closer to the southern border, temperatures start to warm up just a little bit, but the clouds remain. 26 and mostly cloudy for Maple Creek, 16 for Rosetown and cloudy, Leader 21 and cloudy, 23 with a mix of sun and cloud for East End Cypress, and over in the southeast there 21 for Carlisle and 20 for Broadview, both expecting a mix of sun and cloud, and mostly cloudy for Kenora with 18 degrees as the expected daytime high. If we take a closer look at Capel, located just east of Regina and where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel, tomorrow a mix of sun and cloud and 18 degrees is your expected daytime high.
I thought she was going to say more. Civilian and military spectators gathered in Victoria Park to watch as the Royal United Services Institute unveiled their newest monuments. The 2 new pedestal additions were set to honor the Canadian troops who took part in the liberation of the Netherlands during World War II, as well as the members of the Royal Canadian Navy during the Korean War.
We came up with the idea of the commemorative pedestals that would be here to tell the stories of our veterans for decades to come. They're made out of the same material that the cenotaph is, so they're both going to be there for hopefully forever.
The two new monuments bring the total of pedestals to 36 surrounding the cenotaph, with each piece containing a part of Canadian history. Well, drought conditions and gophers haven't been enough of a concern for farmers. Another nuisance is on the way, grasshoppers. As CTV's Nav Sangha tells us, the pests have actually caused a bit of an issue in Alberta. A county there has declared a state of agricultural disaster.
Many pastures in Westlock County look like this, mostly dry grass and vegetation, with only small patches of green.
Like usually we have 3, 4, 5 inches of rain in June and July, and in this area we had 3/10.
Drought conditions and a severe grasshopper infestation has forced Westlock County to declare a state of agricultural disaster, and it isn't the only one.
Many counties around us have. We have Smoky Lake, Lesser Slave, Athabasca County now, so it's a widespread problem all around Alberta.
The lack of grass growth on pastures is forcing some farmers to sell off their cattle.
I don't know what we're going to do.
Really?
Record high prices on cattle, but if you can't keep them, it ain't going to be that good.
The drought is also hindering annual crop growth. Westlock County estimates yield production is down 30 to 50% compared to last year. And with a third of the county's population being farmers, it hurts the local economy.
When yields are down, that affects their business, which affects farmers' business. Really, the whole farming community is very integrated and relies on each other.
The county says the declaration does not automatically result in additional provincial or federal funding, but it is hoping it does raise awareness.
And we just wanted to advocate on the behalf of our producers to say, we hear you guys, we know things are bad, and we want to advocate to our provincial and federal governments for some sort of assistance if possible.
The province says financial assistance and protections such as crop insurance are available. Nav Sangha, CTV News, Westlock County.
Dropped 77 points, while the Dow Jones dropped by 11 points. The Canadian dollar, it went up slightly, 0.02 of a cent to 72.40 cents U.S. On the commodities front, gold up, or down, $20.47. West Texas Intermediate crude is up $1.31, while Western Canadian Select crude is up $1.11. And gas in Regina, drum roll please, no change. It's sitting mostly at $1.37.9 cents per liter. Mostly. Coming up tonight after the newscast, you missed it? We got it. 3 Big Bang Theories, followed by 2 rookies and E-Talk. It's a good lineup. Little League baseball game in New York State had to wait for the dust to settle, literally, before a championship could be decided.
Yeah, that's no good. These 11-year-olds had to duck and make a run for it when a dust devil tore through the diamond. It lasted about 30 seconds, and then play could resume. I mean, that's kind of like the prairies.
Yeah, dust devils can hit now and then, but that's annoying. That's a pretty good dust devil.
Oh, look at them running. There we go.
Done.
Carry on.
Play ball.
Play ball. Well, Taylor Swift was on Travis and Jason Kelsey's podcast yesterday, New Heights, to make a major announcement about a new project.
You don't say.
This is my brand new album.
Excited?
They must be.
I think they're excited.
Swift announced her 12th studio album called The Life of a Showgirl, which comes out on October the 3rd. Swift said the album was recorded across Europe during her Eras tour and will have 12 tracks on it, including one that features Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh.
So if you're a fan of Sabrina Carpenter.
Why are we saying it like that?
Carpenter? How do you say it?
Carpenter.
Just said that. Carpenter.